The scariest part about the all digital future for gaming is not just the loss of physical media because some of us collectors just like and appreciate it. It's what comes after. So many people think that an all digital future is just no big deal because so many people are already full digital. But that's the thing. All digital right now doesn't seem that bad because there's a balance. There's a balance between physical and digital, and everything's kept in check. But that's about to go away. Unless, of course, we keep fighting the good fight, keep pushing back. It's going to be a long battle. It is absolutely a war. There's some people who've already given up. They state that this is how it's going to be. This is the future. Get over it. I don't know when gamers got so soft. Gamers didn't take it back in the PlayStation 3 era when it launched at $600. They didn't take it at the Xbox One era when they had the DRM fully online. I don't know if it's just because gaming got more mainstream. Back when I was a gamer, back in high school, you couldn't tell people that you were a gamer or else, you were a nerd, you get made fun of. Like, you couldn't talk to women like that. Nowadays, it's like gaming's cool. It's awesome. It's huge. And with that more mainstream, I guess just more people are soft and are just willing to take it. So I want to go over a few posts online and have a discussion, help paint a picture that tomorrow's digital future is not today's digital ecosystem. Once we get to that all digital future, that enables these companies to just completely shitify the entire video game industry. And so let's check this out. First off, we have to look at the CEO of Take-Two Games and what he's been saying. So he's been saying our business is well over 90% digitally distributed. It's already a digital business. So in certain instances, especially if it's a big game, and I note discs don't really make sense for the consumer. Okay? Also, most instances you have to register online to play anyhow. So if you're already connected, who cares if you download digitally? It's all the same and it's much more convenient. Okay, asshole, we don't want our single player games to be registered online to play anyhow. We don't want that, okay? That's not like it has to be this way anyway. Like, we don't want that. Stop tracking our data. We don't need your Amazon Web Services in our single player video games. Get out of here. So that's where the world is going. And in our opinion, and I think Sony understands that, dude, screw this guy, man. We certainly understand that. It doesn't mean that we won't have physical editions now and then. I'm sure we will in the same way there's still vinyl in the recorded music business. But in other instances, it just won't make sense. So, this guy's just straight gaslighting. I don't think he knows like what real gamers want. And there's a couple other things we're not going to go over this whole post here, but he also believes that video game streaming is going to be more mainstream in the next 3 years, calling it commercial streaming mode, adding that cloud services and increasing game hardware fees could push players towards streaming rather than consoles and PCs. So I want you to remember that streaming is, they're aiming for that part of the all digital future. We'll talk more about that in an instance. Now, this is a debunked rumor. Again, we're going to expand more on this in just a moment. But 2 years ago, there was a rumor about the same CEO, this same guy. And now he didn't actually state this, so we're debunking it. But the idea is out there in the universe, and people are talking about this. But he did not actually state that video games should be built or priced on a strict per hour pay model. And so, there's a lot of rumors back then spinning up of just like kind of how he phrased something in an investor meeting, earnings call, that, why not charge games by an hour? And you got to imagine that they have entertained this thought. Like, what if instead of charging $60 for a video game, that they charge $1 per hour? And if your game is 60 hours long, you end up paying $60. Or, if it's a multiplayer game, maybe it's 25 cents per match. You got to imagine that they thought of something like this. So let's keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. Now, this is outside of Take-Two. We're going back to Sony for just a moment. This will be the last one. And Sony also recently reported that they're preparing to bring more ads to the PlayStation ecosystem. Yeah, that's what gamers want. According to recent reports, Sony's expanding its advertising business by hiring for roles focused on ad sales, advertising technology, audience targeting, and data analytics. The plans reportedly include PlayStation services, free ad-supported streaming, connected TVs, and other digital platforms. Based on the available information, the company appears to be building a larger advertising business. So I think you can imagine at this point that when we enter the all-digital future, we're gonna have that always connected DRM system. You buy a game, you have to play that game. Whatever version of that game that is, you can't go roll back and play an older build of the game. And so maybe you buy a game for $100 at this point, like GTA 6, and then just you're playing it, everything's fine, and then one day they start rolling updates with ads in it, and you can imagine that YouTube, you're watching YouTube right now. Why are most YouTube videos at least 8 minutes long? It's because that's how long a video needs to be to get the ad roll. And like I feel like everybody's noticed that, especially free YouTube. If you're not paying for premium, it's got really bad with ads. There are a lot long ads. I mean, I'm a free YouTube user. When I watch it on my own, I just sit through the ads. I think about my content, think about gaming, think about work or life, or just be on my phone. I can be patient for the minute and a half, but it is terrible if you're actually trying to like watch a lot of YouTube in a big sitting, which I have not done that in a long time. It's just kind of a convenient thing. It's not worth for me paying, but it's really bad. And that's on an 8-minute video. And so you get one ad at the beginning of the video, one mid-roll ad, right? And so it's like gaming. Why are people? I'm sure you can imagine these conversations happening, right? Like, why are gamers able to play a game for 2 hours long in a session, and we're not showing them any ads, right? It's normal with YouTube. For 8-minute video, you get 2 ads. How come a 2-hour gaming session there's no ads? And I can just imagine with like the whole Sony situation with just an all digital future. Let's think about Project Helix. They're gonna have Xbox 360 games and backwards compatible, like woohoo. It's this always connected system that's digital only, and like who says that they can't roll out a system of ads? And you try to play a 360 game that you remember from back in the day, except now there's an ad at the beginning when you boot it up, and then every like 20 minutes they roll an ad. And there's already going to be dynamic pricing on the stores, right? So if you play a lot of games and you buy a lot of games, they're going to price it full price. Like you have to pay $80 for the video game. If you haven't bought a game in 2 years, maybe you'll get some sales, and that $80 game for someone else, for you, will be like $50. They'll throw you a bone just to try to get more money. They're getting $0 or $50 from you. So there might be dynamic ad showing, right? You can totally like envision that, where maybe someone logs off, like they sit down and they're only playing for 30 minutes. They see an ad after 30 minutes and then they log off. But they realize if they wait 45 minutes to show an ad, then they're going to end up playing 2 hours. Maybe we can get 2 ads out of it. And everybody's ad tolerance is different. Some people have 0 ad tolerance, so they pay for YouTube Premium. I have a higher ad tolerance. It's going to take me longer. And so, like, I don't know, you can imagine like subscription services, or it's like you don't want to get the ads. Well, you got to get like daily tokens. That's just a new microtransaction. Microtransactions have been such like a lucrative thing for these companies, like, okay, Fortnite. And even though microtransactions, they know, and everybody knows, that's a very small percentage of whales that make up the large amount of money in microtransactions. And it's just so worth it for them, these whales who buy all these microtransactions, that every game has microtransactions and they're like built around microtransactions. But what about the other 98% of people who are not buying microtransactions? How do you monetize them on this like free to play game like Fortnite? Is it with ads? I'm still using Fortnite as an example, but we know even stuff like microtransactions is bleeding into single player games, right? GTA is going to be this. They're already stating that you have to be connected to an account for your digital video game. So what's the point anymore? You have to be connected anyway. It's like, why do I need to be connected to a single player game? There's going to be some form of ads. Is it going to be on a billboard? Is it going to be on a TV within the game? It might start that way, but we have hardware prices going up because of like the RAM shortage, and so hardware prices going through the roof. How a $1,500 PlayStation 6, like if sales are going down, that's for the enthusiasts, and then maybe they have the streaming version of it, and that is just like just like YouTube, like a real hard cut ad that plays at the beginning of a game and every so many intervals, in your single player games. Maybe it'll be harder for an online multiplayer game. Maybe that'll be between matches or something like that. Or again, you can even think of like, I don't know, some kind of pass where it's pay to play. I feel like it could be full circle. In the arcade days, at the very early, of video games in the 1980s, you had to pay a quarter to play a match on an arcade game, like at an arcade. Are we going to get to that point where it's like the game is free, but instead of paying $100 for the video game, which like they're probably going to say that $100, it's like games need to be more. They need to be $150. They haven't kept up with inflation. And there's gonna be people online who are like, who says that like the digital future, it's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, yeah, of course. Like games have the only thing that don't increase with inflation. They're like criminally cheap. They deserve to be $100. Well, maybe they deserve to be $150, but no one's paying $150 for a game. So instead of like a subscription service, because now they're increasing prices of subscription services so high, how do we get Game Pass to $50 and justify that? Well, we'll put ads for, if you're not going to pay $50, then it's ads, and the games are free, but you have to pay, like on Fortnite, you have to pay 25 cents per round, and we'll just auto charge your card. And if you don't want to pay 25 cents per round, which is crazy, but pay $20 a month to play Fortnite. World of Warcraft is $20 like per month for subscription. I mean, I actually, that's how it was back in 2005 when I played for a couple months. I have no idea how much World of Warcraft costs now. I'm sure it has microtransactions as well. But it's like, how come I can play Fortnite for free? World of Warcraft got away with $20 per month subscription service, but I can play Fortnite for free. I know Fortnite has microtransactions and battle passes. I think World of Warcraft has that stuff too now, but they still have that like, paid subscription. I'm assuming. I'm not a big World of Warcraft player. Anyway, you can kind of imagine them coming up with some idea. It's like, oh, it's 25 cents per round, or you could buy like the pass for $20, and if you play enough games, it just makes sense. And there's just like so many ways with like streaming and it's the all digital future, right? Any game that you have on your digital console, like today, your PS4, your Xbox One, your backwards compatible Xbox 360 games, in the all digital future, they can just roll out these updates, right? Because like Xbox 360 or on Xbox Series X with the Xbox 360 games, they have performance boosts on them, and which is awesome. It's an awesome backwards compatibility feature. Like that console is great for backwards compatibility. When I replayed the Gears of War games, it felt like modern games. They were great. But if they can do that, if they can boost frame rates and do all this other stuff with these retro games, why can't they add just an overarching OS level just ad system? And there's nothing you're gonna be able to do about it because it's the all digital future. You can't roll it back to a different version. And so like a lot of people are like honed on and focus on like censoring and licensing rights, and that's all true too. But I think just like games can all around just get shitified. I think there's a concerning amount of gaslighting going on from Sony and Take-Two. I think there are way too many gamers who are soft and just taking it and don't have the attention span to keep up this war. But I don't think an all digital future is just today's digital ecosystem just permanent and the only option. I think it enables these companies to attempt to push the boundaries, test the limits, see what they can get away with. And especially when they start doing more things dynamic, like dynamic pricing, every individual is going to have different boundaries. So if they're not able to grow their audience in terms of sales, then they're going to have to milk, like with streaming, like raise the prices of streaming services. But that has a limit too. Microtransactions have a limit. Where do you go from there? They need to extract more money, but the costs of games are going up, and they can't just sell a $2,000 PlayStation with $200 games. There has to be other ways to do it, and there's no other way, in my opinion, other than enshittifying the games with stuff like ads and other things, like other bad practices, like ad-free tokens or pay per play, pay per hour. And I think they are going to experiment with all these things once they're into an all digital future. And so I don't know, man. Ownership is obviously like a huge thing, and licenses and rights and revoking, but I do think it goes way deeper, way farther beyond that. And these companies, everything I'm saying right now is like mouth watering to them. Like they want all of this. They want all of this, and they just want you to be okay with it and say this is how it has to be. And like many people out there are saying that it has to be this way, but not you, because you're smart and you're about to click that subscribe button because you like this video, because you're so smart. I don't know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.